Eyewitness News at 5 starts now.
Coming up, we've long heard about the importance of reading to your kids. Now there's new evidence of just how it pays off.
Also, a showdown over charter schools in Leon County as the superintendent tries to block 2 new ones from moving in. But first,
we're going to turn around the national economy. We're going to make sure that Washington works for us.
Florida's governor formally launches his campaign for U.S. Senate. It's been no secret Rick Scott planned to run against incumbent Bill Nelson. Today, he makes it official.
This sets up a battle of heavyweights expected to be one of the most watched and most expensive Senate races in the entire country. Mike Vasalinda joins us live now with more on the governor's announcement. Mike?
Yeah, good evening, Julie, everyone. It was on this day 8 years ago at 4:39 in the afternoon, to be precise, that Rick Scott first filed the paperwork to run for governor. At the time, he was an unknown. There was an ugly mood in the state of Florida with the recession. Scott was running as an outsider, and he's casting himself in this election against Bill Nelson as an outsider as well. We didn't hear him mention Donald Trump's name once today, but we'll hear that come up in the future. But he also, without mentioning Nelson's name, took a shot at the 3-term incumbent.
There's a lot of old tired thinking up there. It's not heading in the right direction. We shouldn't be sending the same type of people to Washington.
And Scott will continue that idea that he's an outsider. He called for term limits, which we have here in Florida. He says they're good here. Many people will dispute that. The likelihood of term limits in Washington, pretty slim, because it would take 3/4 of the states to enact those term limits, but it's something for Scott to campaign on. We'll also hear about the increased homestead exemption on the ballot, and also on the amendment that will be there regarding no taxes being raised without a supermajority of the legislature. All things Scott pushed, and many believe, to help him in this election process. Julie?
All right, it's going to be an interesting race. A lot of people all across the country are going to be watching to see what happens here with the Trump tide or the blue wave, depending which sides you're on.
Mike, thanks.
Well, continuing coverage now of a fire at the Kearney Center. A woman's now under arrest, charged with arson. A judge has ordered a mental health screening for 28-year-old Patricia Johnson.
That fire broke out last night in the women's wing at the homeless shelter. It's off Pensacola Street in Tallahassee. Dozens of residents had to be relocated because of the damage. Erica Fernandez has the story.
A woman who was inside the Kearney Center at the time of the fire says she saw flames about 4 feet high coming from inside the laundry room. But officials with the Kearney Center tell me that the fire actually started in a laundry hamper and that it was contained. Now, these are pictures from someone who stays at the Kearney Center. Rows of cots inside the cafeteria after the women's wing was flooded from the sprinklers last night. Officials say Johnson started the fire intentionally. No one was hurt, and everyone was immediately evacuated into the backyard. One person tells me she was in the women's wing when she got out of bed to see flames.
I said, fire, fire, and people had their earbuds in. No one was really listening to me. Everyone thought I was kidding. I came running out and hollered for them to get fire extinguishers, and I kept right on going. So I kept right on going.
Today, the women's wing is still being dried and cleaned up. No word yet on when it will be restored. Officials at the Kearney Center tell me they are still evaluating today whether or not they'll keep the women inside the cafeteria or move them to a different facility. But they do say that inside there is more water damage than there is fire damage. Reporting in Tallahassee, Erica Fernandez, WCTV Eyewitness News.
And officials at the Kearney Center said they're still in the early stages of assessing that damage. No word on the exact cost of repairs.
And we did talk with them this afternoon. They tell us that the shelter is fully operational now and nobody is going to have to find somewhere else to stay tonight. So that's good news. In Grady County, it was business as usual at Cairo High School today. That after police and administrators scrambled this weekend over a possible threat. The comments spread quickly on social media. It turns out police say it was directed at another CHS.
But that news was too late to stop it from causing anxiety in the Cairo community. Our Nolani Matthews is there.
Guys, people of Cairo are breathing a sigh of relief today. They tell me they've been watching these kind of threats strike all over, and now it's beginning to hit too close to home.
I mean, they're just doing it every day.
Over the weekend, many hearing about the latest picture surfacing on Facebook. A young man holding a gun believed to be threatening Cairo High School. School administrators say parents and students contacted them out of concern. Police found the post was directed at another school, far from Cairo in New Mexico. However, residents still say it's troubling. One local woman who didn't want to talk on camera wondered when these threats will stop.
There's always going to be someone that's got something to say about something. I said, so are we going to close them every day? You know, is this going to be an everyday situation now that, I don't want to go to school today, let me call a threat in or let me write a threat to the school?
At this time, authorities say they don't believe the picture message is of any threat to Cairo or Grady County. They're telling anyone who has questions or concerns still on the matter to call the local high school. For now in Cairo, Nolani Matthews, WCTV, Eyewitness News.
So the threat was to CHS, so Colquitt County and Cook County schools will also contacted by concerned parents about this.
The Clovis, New Mexico Police Department did make an arrest in this case. They arrested a juvenile accused in that threat.
Now to Leon County schools, where there's a showdown over charter schools. Superintendent Rocky Hanna is taking a stand against opening 2 new charters. The school board's set to consider those applications tomorrow.
Capital City correspondent Marielle Carbone is following the story. And Marielle, why Hanna's objections?
And Julie, it all comes down to resources. Hanna says that by approving 2 new charter schools, that'll take money away from some of those traditionally based public schools here in Leon County, and that would mean that they can't continue offering some of those resources that they currently offer. Now, the 2 charter schools that are up for approval, the first is the Plato Academy, and that's a Greek-based charter school out of the Tampa Bay area. The other is Tallahassee Classical School, which is based on liberal arts and sciences. Now, the Charter Review Committee has reviewed both applications and is recommending approving them. Still, Hanna says that he will recommend that the school board denies them.
If we continue this of adding 1 or 2 every year, where's the end game? Where do we end up? Do we end up with more charter schools than we have traditional public schools? And that to me doesn't make any sense. And then we've watered down those resources to where we cannot offer kids a 7th period day. We can't offer them art, music, and science.
Now, if the board does vote to deny these charters, the schools have 30 days to appeal, which both of them tell me that they will. Julie, Eden, that school board meeting is set for 6 p.m. tomorrow night. And coming up in the 6 o'clock hour, we'll hear from both of those charter schools on why they say that the district should approve them. For now, reporting live from the Governor's Club, Marielle Carbone, WCTV, Eyewitness News.
Okay, Marielle, we'll see you at 6. Thank you.
Well, there's a new kind of medical training, and it's catching on at schools nationwide, including here at home. It's called Stop the Bleed. It teaches staff how to handle victims like you'd see after a shooting. More than 125,000 teachers across the country are learning these skills.
Emma Wheeler shows us how local EMTs are getting involved.
The Stop the Bleed campaign landed in Georgia last year. The Georgia Trauma Commission allotting the initiative $1 million. Their goal is to get these medical kits in every public school across the state. The kits include tourniquets and other tools to control bleeding. The campaign also sponsors a training session for school staff to know what to do in an emergency. That training would be done by South Georgia Medical Center EMTs. Staff say, like CPR or the Heimlich, this training is proven to save lives, and you never know when it will be needed.
You don't know, and it's not just for those mass casualties. It's just for, anything that could happen on the playground at school or in a parking lot or whatever. If you can make a difference in that patient's life, that's what it's about.
EMTs at South Georgia Medical Center have approached several schools in the region. So far, Lanier County Schools has committed to the campaign. Valdosta and Lowndes County are still undecided. In Valdosta, Emma Wheeler, WCTV Eyewitness News.
Emma, thanks. And now turning to our weather, a live look outside downtown Tallahassee. And this is the thing, we can't shake the clouds today, can we? A little gloomy out there for the Monday. Mike McCall.
That's a Monday. That's okay, yeah. Right? Well, we'd love it to be sunny and 72 every Monday, but it doesn't always work out that way. And for most of us, it's mainly just been cloud cover, but a few of you have had some showers. And if you're watching us from down near the coast or the southeastern parts of the Big Bend, it has not been such a pleasant day, even though it's much needed rainfall. Even a couple little thunderstorms here. You can look over the last hour, mainly lined up along coastal Franklin, just offshore from Wakulla County, but then over into Taylor and the southern parts of Lafayette County, and especially down over Dixie County. All this, though, primarily moving from west to east, so it's been mostly staying down over the extreme southern quarter of the viewing area. But you look at a wider view, and you can see that showers are at times more numerous out over the Gulf, mostly just cloud cover. But this pattern may kind of ripple some of that rainfall back and forth to us tonight and tomorrow before we get back to some nice weather. And then we'll talk long range. We just can't quite seem to get 2 good weekend days in the forecast. I'll explain in a few more minutes.
And to that I say revise, revise. There's still time.
All right. Mike, thanks.
Still to come on Eyewitness News at 5. Parents hear it all the time. Read to your kids.
That's right. Now there's new evidence of the benefits improving your child's behavior in school. That's our health alert next.